My name is Martin Evans. I'm a training consultant with Turning Technologies, and the purpose of this video is to explore participant feedback options when using ResponseWare and TurningPoint. I'm running a TurningPoint presentation, and as the presenter, I'm in control of that presentation. I'm simply going to get started here by clicking through the presentation because it's running through a PowerPoint. When I do that, I get my show bar at the top. It gives me an idea of how many responses I have, as well as if there's any user feedback. For this question, I'm just going to get started by proposing a question, and I'm logged into ResponseWare using this iPad right here. And I can see the question as a host on the screen, but I can also see it on the participant's device. So let's see, rank the software below from most used to least used. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we're going to continue through our presentation looking at the data. And as you can see on the ResponseWare device, the graph also appears. Let's take a look at the next question here. How many days notice should you give human resources before taking a personal vacation? Now let's say at this point I've made my answer. Other people in the presentation other participants are making their answers as well, but I'm going to go ahead and send a message here, and I want to say something along the lines of does vacation carry over from year to year? Click done. I can see my comment on here. The presenter can see up at the top here on the show bar that there's been a user feedback. There's some user feedback to look at. By pushing F11 on the keyboard, the person running the presentation can actually see the question right up on the screen. Now if you're running dual screen where your presentation is different than what you have on your computer, then you can be the only one to see this. In other words, the presenter would see this, whereas all the other participants would just see the presentation. So from this point, I could just, let's say, I'm not going to cover that in this presentation. I could simply send a message back to that device ID. Or in this case, I'm going to send it to all the participants. We're just going to answer the question. Yes, vacation does carry over from year to year. Okay, and I'm going to send that. And now I can actually see on my device a response has been sent to my question. Now, I'm actually polling anonymously here. If I wasn't polling anonymously and there was actually a user ID logged in, I could just send that message to the specific user ID. But in this case, we're doing anonymous, so it would have to go to everyone if you really want to reach the person who asked the question. All right, I'm going to exit out of that screen. Let's see what our responses are for this question. And of course, I'm the only participant, so we're not going to get a variety of choices. But luckily, I did pick the correct choice. Let's try another one. So in this case, order the following work conditions by choosing first the one that most concerns you, and then continue until you reach the one that least concerns you. Now, notice here I'm on the messaging screen. I simply can click the bottom here, and it actually lets me know there's a question that's been proposed. And now I can go ahead and start by clicking my answers. Now, as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, you know what? The thing that most concerns me is the lack of supplies. So as a participant, again, I can go to the messaging part, and I can type in lack of supplies. And maybe I'm just going to send it like that, just a little comment here. So lack of supplies, again, the host or the presenter can see that there's been some user feedback. Again, pushing F11. I can see that. Now I can actually copy that statement. And then I'm going to go over to Insert on the Fly Slide, and I'm going to paste that in there. Now, let's turn it into a little bit of a question. Does lack of supplies concern you? We'll just do a yes or no. And now I can go ahead and insert this slide right into my presentation. And you can see now on my screen, I've got the messaging screen up, but you can see that I'm getting a little bit of a signal here that there's another question, and when I click on that, it tells me the question that's on the presentation as well. So does lack of supplies concern you? Yes or no? Obviously I proposed a question, so it does concern me. And again, the presenter can go through the presentation and continue. Now, one other thing I want to bring up in using ResponseWare is the presenter could be giving a presentation, and because I can see pretty much everything going on my device, I don't necessarily have to be in the same room. And I just wanted to bring that up because a lot of times that is a concern for people making it to meetings, or being stuck maybe somewhere. As long as they can log into the internet somehow, whether it's on their smartphone or smart device, they could actually participate in this without even being in the room. And they can still give feedback back and forth. Well, that's all I have for this little exploration here. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. You can see my information down there at the bottom. For more information, you can also get on our website, www.turningtechnologies.com.